Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese and we are making a box of photos today. It is so much fun to create this project. I think the element of surprise is just as much fun for kids as it is for adults. And if you look here, we're going to make the box, and what's cool about it is you can use whatever scrapbook paper or wrapping paper that you have. But notice when I lift the lid of the box, suddenly the photos that are inside magically appear because they're attached to a ribbon, and at the base of the ribbon I even have just some fun die cuts to add to this whole fun surprise. And as long as you create the elements so that the photos are slightly smaller than the bottom of the box, it is an easy thing for you to stack as many photos in there as you'd like to, as many as you happen to have. But first we need to start by making the box. So I'm going to start with a piece of 12-inch square scrapbook paper. And I don't know if you've seen me do this before, but just in case you haven't, you start by putting an X from corner to corner just with a pencil on the back. And then we're going to start folding. This is incredibly fun and quick and easy. I'm going to take one corner and go right to that middle, and the middle is clearly marked with the pencil. Fold it and then unfold it, come to the next corner, do the same thing. I'm going to repeat this as I go around all four corners of the square. I have done this particular box folding with kids as young as kindergarten, and as long as you're there to do each step with them, they love it, and it's easy enough that they can do it. Once you've created those folds, those four folds, now we need to do the second series of folds. So take any corner. This time you're going to take the corner and you're going to bring it to the fold mark that you just created. So using the pencil as the middle and then the fold as the end, I'm going to do my next series of folds. So I'm going to once again work my way around. So I'm going to repeat the same thing with each of the four corners. When I get to the third one, there will be two folds. I want to go to the furthest one, and that's my mark that I use to align that corner. And the same thing with the final corner. I want to go to the farthest fold. And that gives you the next series of folds. The last series of folds are to start with any corner, and now you go to the closest fold line. The closest fold line to each corner. And once again, that pencil line helps you to see where to align the tip. And the fold line tells you where to stop. And then you're going to do all four corners. Here is the final corner. And that is all of the folds that you're going to do for this box. Now, in order to make it into a box, we have to do a couple of slits. Don't get ahead of me on this one. You don't do all four corners, only two this time. So pick any corner, it doesn't matter which one. It's very easy for you when you're doing this, but in order to follow me, my fold line is right here. And I'm going to use this fold line, and I'm going to come over here and do, I'm just following, using my pencil to trace over my fold. So you can see I'm going to pick the corner and come to this fold, and then I'm going to cut on the fold line, which I've highlighted with pencil just because I know it's not very easy to see a fold on a white paper. When you get to this final square, which is actually the lid of the box, is when you stop, and that's where I stopped my pencil line as well. So I'm going to cut along the fold until I get to this middle. And let me turn this over and show you. This fold line indicates, if you look on the colored side, you can see the lines that are indicating this is what's going to be the lid of the box. So if you need something to attach, if you're going to do something on the lid and you need to be able to have it flat, it's easy to turn it over and do it at this point. So I've now done two slits. You don't do all four corners. This time you skip to the corner directly across, and that's the one that I'm going to cut next. Now I'll do the same thing so that you can see where I'm cutting. I'm just tracing right inside my fold line with this pencil in order to make the fold more obvious so you can see where I'm actually cutting. But when you're doing this at home, you don't need to do that pencil line. You're just going to cut right along the fold line. So I'll cut until I get to the final fold that will dictate where the center of the box will be. do the same thing. So I've now cut two opposing sides. I think that it's simplest to have these tips that you just cut on your left and right side rather than the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to fold up the box. So I'm going to take a little bit of adhesive and I'll place it along the tip. I'm going to bring in this corner just like I started to that first fold line, that pencil line right in the center, and reinforce that fold, push down on my adhesive, and now I'm going to reverse fold the fold that's right there and bring in this instance, I'm just reversing the fold that's there. So there's already a fold line as a guide. You have one side. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this opposite side. I'll place a little bit of adhesive on the tip. I'll move this down so you can see better. I'm going to bring this back using the fold line that's already there. So I'm repeating that very first fold I made. I'm going to reverse fold here and reverse fold on these two little sides. So you can see how I've started to create the box. And it's a sturdy box because there's several layers that overlapped. I'm going to bring in one side, and as I bring this in, I'm going to drape it over and then flip it around, push all the way back, and then press on that adhesive. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side, but I want to attach my ribbon. So the simplest thing to do is to attach the ribbon right now so it's underneath this last fold that I'm going to fold up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some double stick tape. I want something really strong to hold this in place. So I'm going to take ribbon. Now, the length of your ribbon is based on how many photos you want to place inside. The ribbon that I used is about 3 feet long. I have double stick tape on there, and I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to position it so that it is sitting on the white. I don't want any of the double stick tape to show. So the ribbon is going to sit like so. I think I might even put a little bit more adhesive. You know what? I'll put a little more adhesive in that little tip. And once again, I'm going to put adhesive on this end. I'm going to reverse fold first here because this one is what's going to fold. It's going to overlap, pull it inside, attach, and push down. So now what I've done is I've attached the ribbon to the lid of the box. I'm going to go ahead and attach the photos in a minute, but right now, before the photos are attached, I think it's easiest to do the rest of the decoration on the lid. So I'm going to start with a couple of layers, and all I did was I cut an inch wide piece of black and then a slightly larger piece of red. And with the black, in order to create dots, I went to my nearby Staples. If you've watched before, you know I tend to hang out at Staples. I find all the coolest stuff. And I'm using a whiteout pen in order to get these nice, big, beefy circles. I'll just press, and as it starts to flood, here we go. You can see it starting. You just push on it. It's not easy to use this pen to create designs. It's not easy to draw with it, but to do something like just circles, plain ordinary circles, especially when you want nice big fat puffy ones. My Sakura pen that I use to draw with is perfect for drawing, but this is just a little faster and a little thicker for a really intense white, kind of a large circle. It does take a minute for it to dry because it comes out so thick. It comes out kind of like paint. So I'm going to attach this first. Sometimes if I attach the two layers together, it ends up creating a funny crease on the fold areas. So what I'm going to do is attach the background first and fold it. So I'll go ahead, crease this, and I'm going to go back and cut off the excess, but I'll wait until I've attached the black, because then I can cut them both at the same time. So I'm going to attach the first layer. Now I'll take the one that I've already added the adhesive to. Now that other line should be dry. I might need to cut off one end so that I can see where to line up the black. I don't know if I have very much excess of the black. So if I want to line this up this way, I can see the edge where I'm going to start. So I'm going to just have a little sliver of red showing. So because my black strip was 1 inch wide, that means that the red is probably about 1.25 inches, and that way you just have a little 1/8 inch showing on both sides. I'm trying to incorporate all of Quincy's favorite colors in this particular project, 2 of which are red and pink. So now I'm going to trim off the excess on this side, and I'll go ahead and I want to now attach the heart. So if you look, let me use my tweezers so my fingers are out of the way. You can see that I've just die cut a red heart, and then I've layered some other pattern papers on top of it. This is a strip that's going to match the bottom of the box, and this is just another shade of pink. And then if I turn it over, I've added some foam adhesive, which will just make it rise a little bit from the box itself, and it adds another cool dimension. I'm going to have to work a little to get the backing off, and then I'll go ahead and attach this just as a little decoration to the lid. Oops. So there you have the decoration, very simply. You can personalize it by putting, you know, it'd be fun to put Quincy's name. I think I'm going to add hers to the end of the ribbon. Once you have the box lid decorated, now it's the easiest time to go back and do what you're going to attach the photos to the ribbon itself. Now the size of the card is going to be dictated by the size of the box bottom in which it will sit. So the card that sits inside can be anywhere from 4 inches to 3.5 inches, and it will comfortably fit inside the box that you're going to be creating. So I have a square, a pink square, that's 3.5 inches, and I'm going to decorate it before I add the photo. When you have it decorated to your liking, then I'm going to attach it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a photo to a matching pink square, just because I like having that little sliver of pink that shows around the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and take my adhesive, attach the photo to another square that's 3.5 inches. So I just have that little edge of pink. It just kind of brightens the photo up to have that little edge, I think. So I now have what are going to be the 2 matching pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sandwich the ribbon in between the 2. So in order for that to happen, I'm going to put adhesive on the back side of one. And I'm not going to bother to do all of it, but you'll want solid adhesive there. And then I'll bring up the lid, and I need to be sure that I look to see if this is the photo and I want it to be positioned so that it reads correctly with the way the heart is positioned. I know it needs to sit like so. So I will then bring the ribbon. I want to leave a little bit of slack. I don't want it to be too tight, so I'm going to leave some slack in there. And then just down the middle, I'll go ahead and place the ribbon so that it's attached to the adhesive. You have adhesive here, so really the only place you're going to need adhesive on the partnering square is down the middle so that it can sit. You have some adhesive over the top of this ribbon, and align this so that you have sort of a sandwich with the ribbon in the middle. And I have a smaller photo of Quincy on this side and a larger photo on this side. At this point, I would then go back and do the same thing. Continue to add photos where I just have the ribbon sandwiched in the middle. Let me go back and show you so that this ends up being such a fun little thing. So if you go back and look at the original, you can see here it is with the decorated lid. Here are the photos, and you know, you can turn and see I've got photos on the back side of all of this. And when I pull it all the way out, I just have some fun die cuts at the end. It is easy to do, so much fun, and it is such a cool surprise when a child or an adult opens the lid and out pulls all these favorite photos. Now this is if you want to make the box yourself. You can also take any box that you might have sitting around, as long as it's large enough to hold whatever size photos you want to put inside. This is a box that I bought like a Christmas ornament at the Sawdust Festival in Laguna, and it came in this box. I've used this exact same box. I take my X-Acto knife and cut a slit in the lid. I poke the ribbon through the slit, tape it to the lid, and then decorate over the top with whatever paper and decorations, like I would decorate a scrapbook page, and then go ahead and attach all the photos. And so you can put them into an existing box, or you can make the box. You know, whether you make this box for kids or adults, they are sure to be charmed and surprised at the photos that are attached to the lid.